Hello, Bec.
Hi.
Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here.
So, y'all, Bec is a psychic channel, a priestess, beautiful soul and heart. I'm so excited to introduce y'all to her. And this isn't just a discussion or an interview, this is literally an activation, a
Mm.
potential activation, if you're open to it, if you're open to receiving um, some words of wisdom and embody them on a cellular level. She is bringing it forward, and I'm really excited to see where we go, Bec.
So am I. Yay.
So just to let's open the portal. Take a deep breath and think into, the title of this podcast is conscious conversion, and I'm really wanting to step more and more into, like, what does that mean? What does it mean to convert, to change, to transform, to shift? Can you tell us a story of conversion
Mhm.
and what that means to you?
Yeah. Okay. So much is coming in. Whew. So I guess the first thing that I want to say is I am very careful with how I brand my, not careful. I don't want to say careful. I'm very methodical in how I approach my branding and my business, I suppose, because to me, my business is an extension of my soul mission and my work. And so when I approach my business and my branding and my marketing and all of that stuff to call in, I suppose, clients, which again is using the 3D terminology for it, because I see all of my clients as soul contracts, soulmates who are here that have things to receive from me, initiations to receive, that sort of thing. I try to align myself with the frequency of what it is that they're seeking from me, right? And we can all do this because there are certain codes or frequencies or knowledge or wisdom that we are literally here, we're holding for our people to come receive from us, right? So this is on a soul contract level. This goes really deep. Before we all came here, we decided to call in certain people to have certain, like in this point in my lifetime, I'm going to meet Bec, who's a priestess, and she's going to activate XYZ in me, right? And so when you are ready, frequently in your frequency and in where you're at in your embodiment, and you're open to calling in those people, it's like the gateways appear for them to come in. So, in terms of conversion for me, it's been really about stripping back all of the stuff that I'm told I have to do to convert or the messages I need to portray. And it's about how can I most vulnerably, truthfully, and honestly, with integrity, express who I'm being in the current situation that I'm in, how I'm moving through my own journey. And so, what's been really important for me is being able to show up, like, no matter how I am, no matter what's going on in my life, to be able to show up in truth and integrity and honesty and vulnerability. And hey, this is what's going on for me. I'm feeling a bit XYZ because of XYZ. And this is the journey that I went on recently. And I'm teaching through my own experience and I'm sharing my content through my own experience, which has a thread of truth for those who are here to receive my message, to receive my soul essence. It's not about the words that I'm writing, it's the frequency of truth and resonance that they receive from my, I call them transmissions. Like whenever I put anything out, it's a transmission because it's, this is what my soul is going through right now. Does this have resonance with you? Is there a thread within what I'm saying which sparks something for you? So I try to think of my content as little pieces of art to share what I'm going through vulnerably and truthfully. And honestly, the stuff that resonates with a lot of my people, I get replies in my inbox like all the time when I put this stuff out, is the stuff where I'm sharing the not so nice stuff. I'm sharing the struggle. I'm sharing the, hey, this is what's come up for me in my shadow. And it's been really uncomfortable for me to look at, but it's the work that I'm doing on myself. It's not me portraying myself as someone who's figured it all out because I fucking haven't, and none of us have. We're all in the process of that. It's this is what I've been going through. This is what I'm doing to move through it. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. I'm not a guru. I'm not a leader. I'm just a woman in front of a man, a girl in front of a boy, or whatever that quote is, right, from that movie. I'm just here vulnerably expressing what I'm going through. And I feel that has this magnetic quality to those beings who are in the trenches. They're in the shit. They're in the process that I was in or am in. And they come into my field in that way. So it's a vehicle to I believe our marketing, our everything that we're putting out there is a vehicle to reach our people to support them. So it's part of the service that we're doing. It's not just the people that are in my containers I support. I support people that I don't even know, right? I have like not a huge following, but I know that I'm touching a lot of people who find my stuff on podcasts or on whatever their friends has linked them to something that I have. They find me because they need my message, because they need my truth, they need my vulnerability. And that is serving people on all sorts of levels without them even paying me, right? So it's like, how can we think about our client base or those who are here to serve beyond those that are paying for us? It's amazing to have people paying for us for our services. But what you're here and your mission is to touch people that you don't even know you're touching, right? And so for me, conversion is about, it always happens that the people that are able to pay me for my services, they come to me in crazy random ways that I can't even possibly fathom how the fuck like they found me. But it's because of all of the service that I'm doing to people that I don't even know that I'm serving. Is that answering the question? Do you have anything to offer there?
Yeah, no, I mean, I love what you're saying about sort of showing up vulnerably and how that reaches people in ways that we couldn't possibly even imagine,
Yeah.
right? Um, yeah, and what I'm hearing there too kind of lends itself into this new paradigm that I'm always talking about, which is getting away from our typical thoughts of what it means to convert. When we talk about sales, for instance,
Yeah.
so there's lots of different meanings of the word conversion. When we're talking about converting people to a sale, it usually means that you have to like show up shiny and perfect, and lead people through this shiny and perfect sort of journey funnel, right? And there's not a whole lot of room for vulnerability there,
Yeah.
right? But what you're sharing right now is that it actually serves us to show up in a really authentic and vulnerable way in service of the people who are looking for transformation.
Yeah, and it's also it's so interesting. I stopped thinking about my business in metrics of the 3D world. Like it's still important to look at those metrics, how many views, how many followers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When I stopped judging myself and my success based on those metrics, I was able to see kind of and understand that I'm succeeding. I'm serving. I'm fulfilling my mission, even if I don't have a billion% conversion rate and my container's always full, right? And the truth is, as long as we're in that service, in that knowing that we are doing what we came here to do and we're helping the people that we're here to help. The people that we're here to actually work with, they find us really organically and really easily. So when you stop making it about how many sales am I getting, how many followers do I have, how many likes do I have, and making it about how am I serving, how am I showing up vulnerably, how am I expressing my soul's truth, you actually become magnetic for more people to come in. And so what I've seen is like actually my revenue and all the other stuff has gone up without my following becoming massive, without having successful funnels and all of that stuff. And that comes. It definitely. I'm not saying don't worry about that stuff because, like we were saying before the call, we're in this bridge where we're in the 3D and we're in the 5D and we're bridging both, and we're like, I don't want to do all the systems and shit, and I know that it doesn't really matter and it's not my worth, but I also, I know that I need to use them, like you say, to take down the master's house with the master key or whatever that phrase is that you love to say. Say it again because I love it.
Dismantling the master's house with the master's tools, using the
Yeah,
master's tools to dismantle the master's house.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But not judging us solely based on those metrics. So it's like judging yourself on how am I showing up in integrity? How am I being honest, being fucking honest? Because there's so many people out there who are dishonest on social media. And there's a lot of people who still can't discern within themselves how to sense that thread of truth within someone, like how to discern actually is this person speaking the truth. And I've seen a lot of people in the industry who are saying one thing and doing another thing. So they're saying, and I have had this experience, oh, if you come into my container and you don't like it, and they teach this, like, I'm going to give you a full refund and I'll send you on your way because I'm not about that. But then hearing actually when people have gone to receive that refund, that they make them jump through hoops and they're really terrible and they switch and their energy is really shitty about it. And so it's like, I think I might have frozen. Did I freeze? I didn't freeze. No, we're good. You're back.
You're good.
Yeah. How am I actually doing what I'm saying that I'm doing, right? It's all well and good to say, I'm doing XYZ and I'm working on myself and I believe in love and I believe in the healing journey and I believe, but are you actually fucking showing up and doing that every day? Are you being what you're saying? And so I think as we move more into 5D, there's going to be a shift in marketing, and it's already happening and I can see it. And I saw it in a previous container that I was in. People are feeling what is not true, right? We're able to discern through frequency and vibration and this feeling of resonance within us. What is a cookie cutter, copy and paste? I'm doing this marketing strategy because I feel like I have to be successful and to convert, versus what is their soul speaking? What is the truth of their soul being shared and their journey and their vulnerability? And people can sense and they can begin to see past this veil. It's not everyone. And so my invitation on this podcast is for people to really do the work to get clear on your own inner guidance. Like that's a lot of what I teach. Be really, really clear in what your intuition is saying when you're engaging with someone. So that means that leaving a container where you, like I had a recent experience where I didn't know why I joined this really high investment galactic activation container. There was a whole heap of shit that went down. I don't really want to get into that right now because it doesn't feel appropriate. But there was a point where literally my whole body, my being, everything was in resistance to receiving the activations at one point. And I was like, I actually do not want to do this. And I'd expressed that a few times, like, I don't want to receive these activations. I don't want to be here. My soul was screaming no. There was a whole heap of stuff going on in the background, which made me have that resistance. Some not so nice things happening with our energy being siphoned and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Again, doesn't feel alive to go into that. But I had to trust that there is a reason why my soul is screaming no. I need to remove myself from this experience. And so if you're working with someone, for instance, a coach, and it stops feeling resonant for you, if you're reading content and it's not landing on a deep energetic level for you, check yourself and ask, is this really my truth? Is because this professional marketing person is saying, which again, which is what I fucking love about you and the work that you do, it's so tailored to someone's unique flow and their unique journey and the unique experience they're here to bring forward. It's not like we need to do it this way because this is what the guru said that we need to do and we need to run your funnel this way and XYZ, right? The way that you approach marketing is so beautiful because it gives people the space to really be in their truth and their essence and how it feels good for them to run their soul empire and like what's that way, right? And so when we're talking about that, I just want to quickly aside talk about how I run my business, because I'm a super intuitive priestess, right? And I go through big phases of nothingness. I go through these voids where I'm prepared for the next thing that I'm here to bring forward. And so there's no action. I don't take action for long periods of time. And then I get the impulse and it's like, go, all systems go. And then I kind of push everything out in a very short space of time. And that's how I operate. That's just how I am, right? And so if I was in a model or a marketing plan or something, I had someone working for me who didn't understand that that's how I operate, then they'd be forcing me to push and hustle and sell when I wasn't actually in that frequency. I was in the frequency of sitting back and receiving and just being in this void space, right? And so it's like understanding the cycles of your own soul mission. And I think the people that I'm directly speaking to, I feel them on the podcast, the priestesses like me who don't fucking resonate with that model of the masculine, Gary V, whatever, all that's like hustle paradigm in our business, in our industry, which is like always putting stuff out, always be doing this, always be doing that, always have these things and always going on in the background. And some of us aren't built and we're not designed that way. And so we have resistance to doing this as a business. And I guess I'm here to say to you, like, you don't have to do it the way that it's been done. We're literally here to do things completely fucking differently, right? And I always hear that my signpost that I'm out of alignment is when I feel frustration. When I feel any frustration towards what I'm doing, it's like, check yourself, Bec. You're not aligned, right? It's not aligned. And there's been so many times when I'm trying to launch something or I'm in the process of, I don't know, creating an email sequence for my funnel or whatever it is, where I felt really frustrated because it's not working. And then I've heard the message, hey, you're a new earth leader. You're a creatrix. You're here to literally do things that people have never done. Your business model is not going to look like other people's business models, right? You're here to subvert the model. You're here to shift the paradigm. You're here to break the model and do something totally different. And so how do you do that if you don't have discernment and trust and full sovereignty and trust in yourself and trust in what you're hearing and what you're feeling? Yeah, wondering what your take on all of that is.
Yeah, I mean so much. You said so much there. It was jam packed and I had lots of moments of thoughts. And I appreciate the shout out, for what we do with the
Yeah.
the agency conscious conversion, because really everything is so customized
Yeah.
for each client because of that very reason. And I've gotten to a point now too where it's like, you know, doing the cookie cutter Russell Brunson style, digital marketing, Facebook, Instagram ads, that way is not going to work for those of us that are super out of the box, super new paradigm. We've got to be in sort of like deep, deep resonance and alignment with our soul's purpose in order for anything to work.
Yeah.
And so I really love what you had to say about that. And then the other thing that came up for me too was, again, that conversation that we were having before we hit record, which is, that we are our generation. I don't know how much you want to expand that. And I'm 41. I'm sure you're younger than me, but this generation is we're bridges. We are the transition generation from the old paradigm to what we're calling sort of a new paradigm, or the new earth, right? Just which is the world that I'm wanting to create for my child. I am very deliberately raising my child to be a new earth leader. Like, I don't send him to school. um, he's still got tons of experiences with other kids and with learning and growth and all of this stuff, but we don't go to school because I don't want him to be programmed with that stuff. So there's I'm sort of that bridge of like the old way of being, and you are too, and the new way of being. And when we take that into marketing, right, and we talk about like the old school conversion rates versus how can we create the inner transformation within ourselves and then radiate that out into our surrounding world on Instagram and Facebook, or whatever social media channels we want. How can we take that inner transformation and conversion and radiate that out to those of us that need that? And that's
Yeah.
the real conversion. Yes, ads and organic social media and funnels can all serve that purpose. And that's part of that sort of like that transition.
Yeah. And when you have, honestly, and this is my experience, when you have all the 3D stuff in place, but then you're doing the 5D and above, and the energetic work to be in resonance with those clients, it's crazy like what is possible. And I do a whole bunch of like grid work and energetic work anytime I'm doing an offering, and I do this with some of my clients, where we literally call in the frequency of the soul avatar of the client, like the consciousness that is the resonant frequencies, all of that stuff. We call in the essence of the program or the offering that's here to be birthed through us. Because again, I believe all of our offerings uh they're a gift that's given to us, but our soul has agreed to hold that offering, right? It's an inspired idea, it's a download. Where does that download come? It comes from source, it comes from consciousness, right? And so there's a contract between the people who are here to receive that offering, us for holding that offering, our resonant frequencies, all of that. And so when we're doing the marketing, how can we have okay, I have these funnels and these systems, but I also have built this grid work, like energetically, to call those people in by being and embodying the codes that I'm here to share through that offering. So for instance, if one of my offerings, one of the most recent ones that I just finished it was called Gifts of the Goddess, and it was a self-love goddess consciousness container, because it's my belief that you can have all the strategy and the business stuff in the fucking world, but if you have low self-worth, low self-love, you're going to block yourself from receiving, right? So I think self-love is the foundation of everything, including business. So that container was about getting these women prepared to be in kind of creatrix consciousness, and fully like magnetic, right? So when they're doing the 3D stuff, there's this magnetic quality behind it, which is the thing that people are they're going to be reading your landing page, and it doesn't matter what words you've written. Maybe you've channeled them like the way that I do is I channel from the frequency of the avatar because I do some writing. I used to be a copywriter. I channel what do they need? What do they want to hear? Where are they at? Right. And I write to them. I don't write for myself. I don't create my programs for myself. Right. So I do that. But then I put my energy behind the landing page, and I do all these really cool like tripwires and little portals and stuff. So it's like literally it's the frequency and my frequency and the codes that are within that offering. So for instance, self-love or creatrix consciousness or the beings I'm working with, that's what calls them to sign up. And it's not the fucking pretty landing page. It's not the words that you're writing. It's not your social posts. It's the frequency behind all of that stuff. That stuff's great to have and you need to have it. Unfortunately, right now, we can't just at the moment just, I mean, I have called in people this way, but like put out a psychic ping and then people just show up. Like you need to be somewhere for them to find you, right? But if you see the 3D stuff as a foundation, and then see what's really going on behind the scenes, and that's the frequency stuff, it's the vibration, it's the quantum marketing. So it's like, I think an exciting thing for people to be exploring, if you're not resonating with 3D marketing, how can I use this tool but then put all of my frequency behind what I'm putting out there? How can I use every little piece of content, every time I show up live, every podcast interview as a coded kind of like energetic activation for the people that are here to receive me, right? And so that's why I do podcasts, because it translates so beautifully. Like people really hear me, right? And they understand and they feel my frequency on a podcast, which is why I say it's an activation, because people receive from me whatever they need to receive at the moment. Like I'm just this vessel with all these codes, and whatever someone's ready to receive, they receive that from me. But that's for me what content is about. It's about sharing that codex and then giving people those invitations to come work with me, rather than forcing them or pushing them or sending them a million emails when there's not that resonance, right? Because I found in my experience, all the people who pay in full straight away and they don't even know me, and it's like literally we've exchanged 3 messages because they saw something that I did, and then they're like, boom, take my money, here it is, I trust you. Because it's something that they feel. They're like, the number of times I've had the message, I feel really pulled to you. Like, I don't know why. I just feel like I need to do this. And then they've gone away and they've had all these signs, and their spirit guides are like, do the fucking thing with Bec, right? That's the energetic marketing. That's what my frequency does to people, because I make that my priority, right? And if I was not in resonance with the codes that I'm here to share or my soul truth, what happens is it gets blocked and no one comes in for a while, because I'm not holding that codex that I'm there to share with them. So it makes things instant and kind of miracle like magic. These people just showing up out of the blue in the most random sequence of events that I don't even, I'm like, how did you even find? They're like, I was on YouTube and I was like looking at cat videos, and then your video showed up, and suddenly like I'm on this podcast listening to this thing, and then I looked at your page and I was like, I just have to work with this woman. That's what it can be like, right? And that's often what it's like for me. So the systems are great, but how are you prioritizing how you're showing up, and also how you're being, like outside of your business? Who are you being? How are you radiating and embodying your soul's truth? And that's not just saying I feel good all the time and I'm joyful and happy and playful, because that's bullshit. Like I'm a lot of the time I'm embodying my dark goddess. I'm embodying the healing. I'm embodying the chaos, the ups and the downs, the cycles, right? And it's part of my journey to go through these massive deaths and rebirths constantly, so I can teach through them. So it's like showing up when I'm in a huge death period cycle, when nothing is happening on the surface and I'm being put to my knees, going through some really intense past life or soul clearing or whatever it is. Can I show up and share that, knowing that that's going to support someone who's in that as well? And they don't just want to see me when I'm super magnetic and I'm loved up and I'm like feeling like the goddess creatrix. They want all of you. They want you and your lowest, you and your highest, you and your struggles, you and your joy. They want the whole spectrum of you. And so how can we share that with people without the fear of the judgment, without the fear of, if I'm not perfect, then people won't buy from me. If I'm not delivering the message that everyone else is delivering, which is the status quo, which is the cookie cutter coaching model of this is what I need to portray. Um, yeah, it's dismantling those beliefs within us that has us not seeing ourselves as worthy in all of it, in the shit, in the thing, right? Because yes, we're all really ascended light beings. People who are listening to this, I kind of assume you all are, right? Here to teach and help humanity evolve, but we're also human. And that's what we forget. Like our humanity and us doing life and moving through the journey and the stuff we go through, that's the fucking medicine, right? That's our most important thing. And there was a period where I was really obsessed with connecting to past lifetimes, where I was a literal goddess on earth and I was this star being and that star being and blah, 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 so powerful. And God kind of made it really clear, and my soul made it really clear to come back and be like, yeah, but Bec, in this lifetime, you're human and you have so much human shit and you're always moving through this stuff. And, you know, all of your wounding and the stuff that you're constantly healing, and that vulnerability and the humility that I have because of that, that's what makes me a leader. That's what makes me worthy of my mission, is my imperfection. Because we are human. And a lot of people forget that, and they try and be perfect, and they try and put out this image of perfection, thinking that that's what people want. And actually, people want fucking permission to be human, to be messy, to be in their stuff, right? Yeah. Love rant just then.
I love a good rant.
Yeah.
So, in your perception, what do you think individuals can do to step into our next evolutionary leap?
Yeah, for me, it's always coming down to trusting your own wisdom. And I believe, like, I don't, I say I'm a channel and I'm this and I'm that and I have all these codes. I don't believe I'm any different from any other person. I believe we all have the capacity to tune into the same field of consciousness that I'm tuning into. The only difference is I practice and I devote myself to that. I think everybody has wisdom within them that they're here to share. We all have access to consciousness. We have access to everything that is, right? Star beings, all the things. We have access to all of it. And so for me, it's always about, what work are you doing to strip back anything that is stopping you from tuning into your truth? So stripping back the stories and the identities and um, the parts of you that don't believe in your own wisdom, where you're outsourcing your wisdom, where you're relying on other people, where you are getting a million, this used to be me, a million readings at any given time to confirm where you're at, rather than just asking, hey, soul, like, where am I at? What's going on, right? So it's like trusting and developing and cultivating a relationship with your higher self and your soul and God. For me, it's God, the universe, whatever. And that's not a Christian God. It's like just God. That's how I perceive it. Mother Earth, God, Gaia, um, higher consciousness, Shakti, Shiva, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. That creator, developing a relationship with that, where you learn how to trust your inner compass. You learn how to trust the downloads that are coming through, the impulses, trust the messages, right? And have that be your signpost, because I believe we all have something guiding us to our mission, to our truth. We have all the steps within us. It's just about quieting down, removing the things that are telling you you can't, removing the things that are telling you you're crazy, telling you that you're just making it up, all of that stuff, and really tuning into, what is my truth? What is my soul's truth? What is my purpose? What is my mission? And what's the wisdom that's coming in for me at any given moment that allows me to then open up to receive the next step, the next person to invest in, the next offering to put out, the next client, whatever it is, right? We're always being guided. It's just about, are we discerning what that guidance is, or are we doing things that we think we have to do? So yeah, like developing your channel, opening your channel, doing work to really align with who you are at a higher level. So like seeing yourself as more than this human, having this human experience. Like the human is so important, but how can we expand our awareness out to include our soul and our higher self and our connection to everything and everyone? Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, for me, it's something I've been thinking about a lot because I am in so many plant medicine ceremonies right now, and really just on this real sort of journey of not just self-discovery, but source as self-discovery, self as source discovery. And so much of that really comes to really to finding my own center, to finding my my internal locus, right? And so all the feedback I'm getting from the outside world, it's all a reflection of
Yeah.
my own inner world. So that's true. And the noisy. So being really, really clear on what is mine and what do I want, and that's the discernment you're talking about, I think, and the resonance and the sovereignty that you're talking about, like, is all absolutely like paramount to our collective awakening. All of us sort of finding our own center,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then collectively we can then find our center.
Yeah, because you have your truth and then you have universal truth, which is like
Right.
the big T, like love, trust, surrender, right? Like connection to everything and everyone. So once you start to discern your own truth, you realize your own truth is deeply embedded in the collective consciousness. or the higher version of that, right? Or like source, which is the truth, which is the higher perspective of everything, which is being able to see literally everything that's showing up in your life and be like, what's the perfection in exactly what is right now? Like, how is this fucking perfect? That's a question I ask myself whenever something's like my human is perceiving it as this sucks and I hate this. How is this perfect right now? What's the perfection in right now? What's showing up? Where is the medicine? Where is the gift?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's 100% like such an important practice is how is this perfect right now? I always say that everything falls into a sacred geometry. And it's when we push on the edges that we have like the chaos, right? When you're trying to like force things and control things. But if you just sort of be in your own empowered state and allow and see the perfection all around you and be present, be fully present, um, that's when everything really does fall into place.
Yeah.
Um, and it's really hard to see that. It can be very challenging to see that when you're in one of those crises moments. But it's those crisis moments that lead to your greatest evolution. So if you can see those crisis moments as perfection, because it's going to lead you to your evolution, then your next evolved state is going to be fucking badass.
Yeah. And it's so tempting when you're in them. Like whenever
Yeah.
I go back into one of these cycles of preparation, I call them cycles of preparation now. I don't call them purges. I don't, it's a cycle of preparation, right? Just had a 3 month one. It was great. Um, there's a temptation. Like I'm pretty good at sitting in it now for a couple weeks, maybe a month. And then I start feeling the restlessness and I'm like, but I want to be pushing forward, but I want to be moving. And I'm resisting what is. So I always have to bring myself back to like stop resisting what is. The more you resist what is, you're just going to create more of what is, and you're not getting what you need, right? So how can you be present with it and accept it as fucking perfect because you created it for some reason, right? You're always creating everything. So yeah, not pushing away or avoiding is so important.
Beautiful. What action steps do you think that, so you mentioned sort of like people sort of finding their channel, really stepping into their own authenticity and vulnerability. Um, how do you, what advice do you have for people for them to take an action step in that direction right now?
Yeah, so meditation, always number one for me. If you have plant, like I'm don't do a lot of plant medicine because my channel is super open, but if you need support, there are some amazing plants out there. I used to do a lot of psilocybin, big journeys with psilocybin. You do a lot of wachuma. There are a lot of ayahuasca. There's many plants out there who literally are put here to help us kind of reach, open our channel and be able to connect to something bigger than us. So if you struggle to meditate and connect that way, it's definitely, yeah, plant medicine. Otherwise, working with someone who is specifically here to help you to connect to that stuff. So some sort of mentor or guide, or just be asking, like literally, if you show up every day and you ask, hey, soul, can you please guide me today? Give me signs, give me synchronicities, like make it obvious to me until I'm very good at discerning, because now I'm very good at discerning. I don't need the signs and all that stuff. But for someone earlier on in the journey who doesn't have that relationship with their source or their guides, be asking, can you support me? Because we have a team. All of us have a team of beings on the other side or in the other realms who are here to support us and help guide us to that truth. So you can ask for support all the time. Hey, soul, support me. Hey, guides, support me. I need support. I need to be shown what's the next step. I need to be shown um, what to do to help me trust myself, right? What is the next step to help me evolve and trust myself? And so for me, that's looked like joining containers, like the previous one that I was in, which actually ended up being about my sovereignty. Like I thought I joined it for one reason and complete different reason is why, right? And sometimes you'll be guided to do things that so for instance, I invested 10K in crypto last year or the year before, and I lost all of that money. And at the time, I was like, my intuition's telling me to do this because my attached idea of why this is happening is because I'm going to make a bunch of money and it's going to be a quick return. No, my soul actually chose that and wanted me to have that experience so I could let go of my attachment to money and see that I'm fine and that I'm always supported, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like following your impulses without the attachment of I know how this is going to work out or I know why, and then trusting that if you took an aligned action, if you follow that soul guidance, there's a reason for it. And even if the reason is shit in your human mind and it's uncomfortable or whatever, there's something in that that's so much more what's the word I want to use? It inspires so much growth and it's so expansive for you through that discomfort or whatever it is. I kind of like went on a tangent there, but I think I answered the question.
Totally. And I'm curious, like, how, when you are working with somebody, how do you support them through that process?
Yeah, absolutely. So my very specific gift is being able to elevate someone's consciousness in the way that a plant medicine or something would, right? So basically, I act as a channel or a vessel, and I kind of channel in very, very high frequencies, and then I hold an energetic space. So they're kind of like shamanic journeys, I suppose, like soul journeys, galactic journeys, whatever you want to call them. I guide people through a journey and I hold them in higher frequencies. So I'm basically acting as like a bridge or a connector between them and their spirit team so they can feel very connected to the things that they're not able to connect to on themselves, basic by themselves. So basically all I do is I hold the sacred space for people to journey. And it's I'm not doing anything for you. I might help you clear some energy that's dense and you can't clear it yourself. I'm just there to facilitate the space for you to journey. And I believe that it's so important. Like anyone who's doing work with other people for their expansion, and that's most people who'd be listening to this, your job is not to tell people what they need. It's not to take their hand and be like, do this, this, and this, and show them that way. It's to hold the space for them to do their own discovery. And that a true leader is not telling you anything. A true leader is teaching you how to connect to your own wisdom and sovereignty and guidance. So any space that I facilitate is all about the client, the soul client, whoever it is, really connecting to themselves. And then I'm just there to confirm and be that psychic kind of fact checker for them to be like, yes, you really did see this. And yes, this is the message I'm also getting. Well done, right? So they build up the confidence so they don't need external validation. That's basically, yeah, how I do that is I help to take them into that space of ascended, expanded consciousness.
I love that. And I love, and for me, for me to really, really admire and respect a mentor, it's when they reflect it back to me that I feel I truly trust them.
Yeah.
Right. When I am sort of like, really admiring somebody and they say, I'm just a reflection of you. And you are
Yes.
also a teacher. You are also my teacher. When somebody says that to me, I'm like, yes, like sign me up.
Yeah. Yeah, because like all of our
'Cause-
clients are gifts to us as well
yeah,
of stuff that we're working through. It's a
exactly.
big
Yeah.
mirror. 100%.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for the beautiful work that you're doing. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. And I'm sure that your what's that the 3D word for clients, I'm sure that the beautiful people who are in resonance with you and in a relationship of reciprocity with you are receiving so much.
Yeah.
So
I hope
thanks
so
for what you
too.
do.
I know so.
Can you share with our listeners how they can find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram as Bec Mylonas, BecMylonas. And my website is www.becmylonas.com. There's a bunch of free activations and stuff on there. So if this vibes with you, go receive some of my love, and I'd be happy to share that with you all. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, my dear.
Thank you for having me.